Over to you, Di. I think a bit like David, we'll start with Victoria. I understand you've spent a bit of time on the phone today to a number of your customers. I'd love you to share a little bit about what you're hearing and any advice that you could give to any other audience or listeners who are suffering from similar issues, particularly around the software platform side of things.
Yeah, so I think probably myself and customer success, we've spent probably 90% of our day on the phone today, just fielding questions from our customers that are based in Victoria, asking obviously what additional information we had received as software providers, but also how we can support them. There's a lot of angst, obviously, in terms of everybody had been ramping up to return to normal on Monday, and now going to, for those Victorian services, having to wind that back. Yeah. So asking lots of questions around, is the software going to support the ability to waive the gap fee for those absences, which is something that we've put back into the software today, very agile that we are. The ability for those services that are affected in those particular postcodes to be able to waive the gap fee as a discount for those children that are away for COVID-related reasons. Yeah. I guess the things that we're hearing though is because it's not a blanket waive across your entire service, it is for those that are actually absent. It's an administrative burden. So they're actually going to have to, on a day by day or a week by week, actually manage applying those waivers per child that's away. So it's something that they're going to have to keep track of. The other concern is, as David alluded to, was the allowable absences. A lot of these families are, not, even though that they can have allowable absences for COVID-related reasons, are just saying, I'm taking my children out. So, having discussions today, just hugely plunging occupancies from services that had almost got back to normal. Yeah. And it's been really quick. The extent of the media, they it does have a very quick reaction. So we obviously, as software providers, trying to support those services as much as we possibly can by providing as much reporting that we can, and as trying to remove some of the admin burden from them. Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you. Challenging, Victoria, but we got to remember it could happen to any of us at any time. So understanding the experience that they're going through is very valuable for everybody. For those outside Victoria right now, preparing to go on to the CCS and the transition payments, do you have any suggestions, advice around the financial aspect, around transitioning your organization from free childcare across to the co-payment system? Any tips, advice, suggestions around budgeting, financing, and managing the business? So mine's probably just more practical, particularly with the software. We've all, even ourselves as a software provider, it feels like we've been on this holiday since the 6th of April. There's been a whole lot of functions we haven't had to worry about and haven't had to do. But from Monday, it really, because we have ticked past an end of financial year, we really need to look at those things that may impact our FY20 results. So dealing with all those overdue attendances straight up, dealing with where we might have to submit variations for attendances up to the 6th of April. People got caught short. They only gave us essentially 48 hours to submit attendances before CCS turned off. But we recommend that you deal with those fairly early in the piece, particularly before you start providing reports to your accountants. Those attendances are sitting there as overdue, so they're still sitting in the software as estimating, so they haven't gone to CCS. And invariably, particularly if parents' entitlements have changed, what's actually going to come back may differ. So the last thing you want to do is give financial reports to your accountant that actually differ to what you're actually going to get through. They're great points. And you mentioned that entitlements situation, and with a fluid employment landscape,
entitlements can fluctuate. I'm employed one day, I'm not employed the next day. The amount of CCS I'm eligible for is going to change. How, as a service director or a center director, do you keep on top of that? How do you keep on top of the fact that one family's entitlements one week may be different from the next week? We don't want our debtors blowing out, do we? How do we manage that?
So, I guess one of the fabulous, and I may be slightly biased, but one of the fabulous functions on Kidsoft is we have these great notifications on the front screen, and you're really keeping your eye on those CCS entitlement notifications. And that's going to be even more important than ever from Monday, as people put through their new income estimates as they lodge their catch up and lodge their FY19 tax returns. Surprisingly, people still haven't done it. But as they keep putting through more financial information, their entitlements are going to change. Yeah. But the other thing that services really need to do is take advantage of the relaxed activity test. You're really encouraging families to go onto the MyGov and take advantage of that relaxed activity test to get up to 100 hours. So that they're not put in further hardship. So the notifications and the reporting. So we have amazing entitlement reporting. So you can see at any one time exactly what those families' entitlements are.
Oh, good. All right. That's a key consideration.
Yeah.
And last question. You get 4 questions this evening.
Yay.
You're a VIP. Yeah. So we've got an extra question for you. Just like David and Tom, I want to be taken into the future. Yeah. So are there any practical suggestions you could give owners or centre directors about how they plan for next year, how they plan for a post-COVID world? Yeah, whether it be budgeting or financing or whether it be operational. How would you plan for the future?
This is probably where I'd put my accounting hat back on. Obviously being as an accountant, I love to plan. So really looking at that budgeting and I guess modeling whether to put my fees up later in the year or not. So obviously up to the 27th of September with transition payments, you can't put your fees up. You're stuck in this limbo period. And normally as a sector, we would have all our services typically put them up in the first week of July to offset the Children's Services Award going up. So it's kind of that offsetting nature. It's something that our services haven't been able to do. So is considering, well, when do I do this? Is it something that as soon as I come out of the transition payments, I put them up in October? Or is it something that I then hold off and I do in January when I would typically do a smaller rise? So really looking at that budgeting. One of the great things that Kidsoft can do is I can actually put a fee increase in ahead of time. So I can actually go in and bulk update my fees ahead of time with an effective date. So if I want to see what my revenue reports might actually look like, I can actually put them in ahead of time. So, and then update them if that doesn't suit my needs. So I could say, I want to put them in October and I want to see based off the level of bookings that I have in there at the moment, what would that do to my revenue? Can I exist as a service? What are my competitors doing? Is it something I need to take into consideration as well? So I think a good budget is even more important this financial year than any other year. And I know that the customer success girls at Kidsoft are happy to give people recommendations as to what reports out of Kidsoft will help them build that budget. And there's some amazing tools that the department and the government put out also to help you build your budget.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you, Di. That's fantastic.